Welcome to this video. In my 10 years of becoming, in where I am today, the birth of Exodus, the journey of revelations of that I'd gone through, because this particular year was the year when everything was just magnificent. So if you haven't watched the other videos, what I'm doing is I'm going over every decade and sharing with you all of the lessons and challenges and decisions that I had made and gone through in terms of investing, working on myself, different techniques and tools, client situations, mentor situations, and also my own development. Because if I don't share this with you, then you're not going to understand why I do what I do. But most importantly, you're not going to understand who I am. And you need to understand who I am. And I'm very transparent. I just say it as it is. So I'm just going to get crack on with 2022. Now, 2022 was the year of expansion, exhaustion, and the EQ edge. It was such an incredible year. Like it was the birth of EQ mastery. See, what had happened was in 2018, I'd learned about reading reports and adding it into my practice. I then became an EQ practitioner in 2020. I was doing my readings, I was learning about human design, and everything was kind of unfolding really, really fast. And then I was kind of like, well, these reports are really good. I should really teach people how to use them. So I got confirmation from my business partner. He said, yeah, go ahead, go and do it. And EQ Mastery Coach was birthed. Got it trademarked. Now, the funny thing about this particular certification program was I wasn't really bothered about it. Like, it is what it is, what will be. And I hadn't realized that as a manifestor, that's the best way for me to make a decision. But the day before it was going live, I was going to cancel it until somebody signed. I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. I held my power and I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to cancel it. No, Sam, someone's in. I was like, oh, okay. Then another five came in. And so, as I'd done that, I had just completed an incredible round of silent counseling. When I mean my silent counseling certification program was just constantly full. I think I must have done about 5 rounds that year, always at capacity. And that was brilliant. But what happened was as I'm teaching and training people, we was only allowed to charge a set amount for the actual certification. And then we had to teach it in a particular way. And what I actually did was I was teaching the people based on what I'd been told, and I'm very fickle when it comes to rules. I'm very fickle. And so somebody had done something and I kind of like said, look, you're not supposed to do that. You've got to make sure you have your eyes open because you want to be able to tune into it. But who am I to fucking tell someone how to run their business? I did a whole Facebook Live on it. She separated from me, someone else removed themselves from me, another client said I was arrogant, another client owed me 7.5 grand and she left me, another client had said to me, oh, Sam, you work with too many negative people. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what the fuck is going on? My business is thriving. I've got my 12-month total alignment mentorship. My silent counseling is booming. I've been selling EQ Mastery Coach. I've also got subconscious healing therapy, one-on-one, random group programs, masterclasses. The money was flying in and everything was so fast. Consistent 10K month, 17.5K cash month, 1 month, one-on-one clients. I'd raised my one-on-one pricing. It was just a lot. Everything I wanted was coming. I had cleared the energy and it was all coming up. But what I hadn't realized was I was not taking time for me. I was so busy focusing on everybody else, I wasn't taking time for me. And every time something had come up, I kind of worked on it, but not really. I was kind of, I've got things to do. I've got people to serve. I've got to deliver. I've got to deliver. I've got to deliver. And every time I was getting all these comments, I was kind of like, it's okay, I'll let it go. It's okay, I'll let it go. That client, when she decided she didn't want to pay me, she was in 3 of my containers. I was pretty devastated, I'm not going to lie. But as soon as I let it go, the money came in from another client. Because I refuse to hold someone, if she doesn't want to pay, she's not going to pay. I'm not going to force anybody. Even though I've been forced to pay and I'm always going to pay it out of integrity, I would rather do that than be a liar because I can't stand liars. Now, this particular person, what was actually going on as I reflect back now, based on what that other coach had said, is that the women coming into my containers, into my certifications, were coming in because they wanted to learn a tool, but every single one of them had wounds that needed to be faced. Every single one of them felt at the unconscious level, if I learn this, I'm going to be healed. And some people just kind of got on with it and were fine. But there was something aggravating me. Like everyone's coming in, they're doing the inner work, they're learning all these tools, but there's still work to be done. And so I had my one-on-one package and I wanted to try and blend it both together. So I was trying to squeeze all of my work into one thing, but it was too much. A 12-month mentorship, certifications, not one, not two, but three, four. Oh my God, four. I had my energetic activation because I realized that I could blend my energy work into understanding people's human design, how to do the readings, and I did it in a way that was my own. But what was happening was is that there was a lot of other people's voices and noises that was disturbing my own peace. So here we are, it's July. I'm teaching EQ Mastery Coach. The money's flying in, the clients are coming in, and it was so incredible. But there was these little voices going in my head, like, you're surrounded by broken people, you should be doing better. I've got too many problems and I don't know how to get over it. I just want my first 10K. But the thing is that certifications don't heal you. You heal you. You grab tools, you become a bodybuilder. Look at what happened to me when I had my NLP in 2018. And so here I am, all of this wisdom, and I'm also in a very high level contained coaching container because I thought that's it, I'm ready. And everything is going great. And I'm teaching EQ Mastery Coach. There's a knock on the door. It's the final day. I'm giving someone a live reading. And this guy knocks on the door. And long story short, and it was actually 3 years ago, 2 days ago, yesterday. And he was standing over there and pointing outside by the front door. And there's two steps down there. And it was all nice and friendly. And hi, I need to speak to your partner and blah, blah, blah about this car parking ticket. And I said, look, hold on a second. I really can't talk. Well, I really can't. And I was like, okay, hold on a second. So I just literally didn't really properly close the door, but I held the door. And I went to go press pause on the recording, but it didn't work. And he's come into my house. He's stepped foot into my house, pushed the door open, started shouting at me, having a go at me, saying, I'm going to call the police, you're attacking me. So he was, he abused my trust. And in that moment, I went into fight or flight and I was so angry. I just gave him the £500 just to get off my property. Now, everyone watched it on EQ Mastery Coach. Do you know how much of a dick I felt on that? I'm teaching you how to manage your emotions and I've erupted. Call it coincidence, call it a lesson, call it an eruption, call it ignorance, call it whatever you want. But that situation had to occur. Why on EQ Mastery Coach? I was so upset, I really was. And what happened is I had built up all of this success so fast, my nervous system didn't have time to catch up. I'd cleared the runway for my nervous system to hold it, but I just thought I'm done. I don't need to do any work. I'm just going to be honest. And I didn't realize how much I had to keep working on myself. And I'm in this coaching container and everything's kind of shifting and changing and I'm changing. I'm molding into somebody else. And I didn't even realize it. I'm trying to sound like someone else, be like someone else, act like someone else, work like someone else. But no, why did I do that? Because I thought it was the right thing to do. I trusted myself, but I didn't trust myself in my power. I trusted myself with money, but I didn't trust myself to hold the money. Trust is a huge thing. And so when this situation happened with the debt collector, it wasn't the fact that he came in. It was the fact that my husband said to me, Sam, every time something happens, you always act like you're being attacked. There we are. Not only did it put me into fight or flight, I had to face a wound because I felt like I was always going to be attacked based on my wounds from the past. Being punched in the face by guys because I wouldn't go out with them. Being smacked over the bottle with a head because somebody pushed past me. Being almost raped. Being sexually abused. Being let down by my dad. Being physically beaten. Being let down by men, by men, by men, by men. I had just all of my masculine wounds came up because the year before, when I found out I had silent counseling, I healed my feminine. I was always go, 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 but I learned how to be. And so the following year I was being, but I didn't know how to balance it with the doing. And so I didn't know how to have that balance. And so then I crashed and then I shut down and I just felt like I'd lost everything. And I spent 4 months working on myself. facing parts of myself, the fight and flight, the anxiety. I had to be surrounded by my men, and that was it. My husband and my two children. I did not want to be around anybody else. I was petrified. I was scared. And as the fear came up, my confidence was shattered. Didn't know how to trust myself with money. And I went back into safety, started borrowing again, started going into hiding again, started doing things that felt safe. And I didn't know I was doing it. I started going back to lowering my prices. I don't understand why I did all of that, but I did. And even though I felt really good at the end of that year, things started to pick up again for my business and my certifications were doing really, really well. And I had women in my world. And instead of, I was holding myself in my power, but I was trying to be their friend. And the thing is that as a leader, you're not, someone's paying you, you're not their friend. I'm not your friend. I'm here to support and guide you, but I will lovingly hold you with the utmost respect. My best friend I have now, who I have taken decades to find, our relationship is not coaching one on one. How I am with my clients is not how I'm going to be with them offline if I was to ever see them. But people come into my life for a season and then they go. That's why I always say, I might not be the first person you hire, but I'll be the last one you'll ever need. I'm not here to say, oh, well, you're not buying from me again, and oh, blah, 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 because everyone was buying from me. And I loved it. It was go, 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 go. But one minute, everything is kind of flowing, and then it's really, really flowing. And then I kind of lost myself again. And I was like, I need to go back to where I feel safe. Unconsciously, that's what I did. So there we are, 2022. What a crazy year. And I was devastated again that I had all of this money coming in and then it just kind of disappeared. I mean, I had great money coming in that year. It was officially my first six-figure year. But where did all that money go? Coaches. Because I was just devastated, devastated at myself. And I was just trying to find something to make me feel good. So my emotional spending was emotional wounds, and I just spent money to feel better because that's what I used to do when I was younger. And so even though my work never stopped evolving, 2022 was the year I realized that I'm really not here to teach more methods. I'm here to lead through what I've lived. It was the year where I learned that how people can go back into safety even though they've done the inner work. And to fully recalibrate to the highest version of yourself is learning how to just pause in stillness without feeling guilty. And when you do that, you trust that it's more than enough because the money was coming in, the sales were coming in, everything was going well. But instead of busy overload, everything came a bit more spaced out because unconsciously, I didn't want to work that hard again. So that was 2022. What a year. It was such an amazing year for me, but it was also the year where I I felt a lot of regret because it was the year that everything was going really good for me. It was the year when I was fully rooted in financial stability. It was the year where I became a certified hypnotherapy trainer. I launched all of my new certification programs. My training academy was built. But what 2022 really showed me is that making money is easy. Making sales is so easy, but it's how you hold that wealth. It's how it's how you lead yourself when clients project. It's how you feel, how you hold yourself when you feel like you're being attacked, especially if your bank balance doesn't match your worth. So it was a pretty epic year for me. And it's taken me a while to let a lot of things of that year go. Because one of the greatest things I ever heard was, if you did it then, how can you do it now? Different, bigger, and better. So let this be a lesson and a message for you that if you feel like you've had something and you lost it, the best thing to do is to understand what was going on when you did have that loss, face that grief, let it go, and then ask yourself, okay, what is the next thing I can do? Because that next message is there for you. You just have to tune in. So on that note, thank you for watching, and I'm going to see you for the next video.